The Pick Up 8? Yeah. Do you watch?
The Studio A24, mostly known in the popular, more casual zeitgeist for producing low-budget, high-intensity, independent-style films, has a great track record with me when it comes to more pure and true horror flicks. However, when they dabble in heavier, more subtle, even abstract drama like they did with The Lighthouse, they tend to lose a lot more of the popular movie-going audience. With the film in question today, I Saw the TV Glow, this is 100% going to be one of those cases. I watched it, and I'm going to tell you why. So sit back, grab a snack, grab a drink, and grab the like and subscribe buttons simultaneously while doing a handstand, and make sure to comment down below while you're doing it. That'll be really impressive if you can pull that off. This is not going to be a full plot breakdown necessarily, but I might reveal a detail here and there throughout the plot to make you understand how I feel. That being said, you can watch this whole video and still go into the movie fresh. And in fact, this video might help you go into the movie with a better perspective. This video, watching the whole video, might actually make you have a better experience with the film. Or it might make you not waste your money on a ticket if that's what you're looking for. So let's do this. And honestly, I think this movie is kind of a hard movie to spoil because the surprises in this story require a lot of emotional context and introspection to really understand. Like I could tell you details from the end of this movie, and it's not going to affect your viewing experience because you're still going to have to watch the rest of the film to even understand what I mean when I say these things. So I'm not going to drop these spoilers, but even if I did, this is a weird movie. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Now, it's a very odd film, very cerebral, very slow, and the actual plot of the movie is very simple. I think the complexities in this movie come from the characters and their thoughts and feelings expressed in these somewhat awkward but very fitting dialogue-based scenes. This movie is a talker. There's just a lot of talking. Now, this film is actually listed as a drama/horror, but it's really just a dark drama at its core with a few semi-scary and very purposefully over-the-top horror moments that, in my opinion, barely justify this as a horror film at all. So if you're going into this film looking for horror, you're not going to quite get what you're looking for. You know, if you're looking for if you've been sold on this film somehow as a horror movie and you're going in hoping for another Talk to Me or even a Late Night with the Devil style film, you're going to be kicking yourself in the nuts for buying a ticket about halfway into this film. So now that we know what this film really is, let's discuss why you should or perhaps should not give this movie a watch. For some reason, I just pictured somebody like putting a watch on a movie poster, like give this movie a watch. Anyways, the pitch for this story is pretty vague, and for this reason alone, I feel like it has already lost a good chunk of casual moviegoers right off the bat. You know, when you watch the trailer, there isn't much outside of the actual atmosphere or the vibe that actually draws you in to want to go buy a ticket. You know, when you watch the trailer, there's not much outside of the actual atmosphere or the vibe that really sells you on this movie. You really have to take a leap of faith when you're buying a ticket for this movie, and I did that. I really didn't even know why I was gonna watch the movie. I just felt like the vibe might be interesting. I don't know. I didn't even know what this film was about. I went in pretty blind. Now, the IMDb plot pitch literally reads as such: two teenagers bond over their love of a supernatural TV show, but it is mysteriously canceled. Now, I don't know about you, but when I read that, it's very boring. If I read that to a casual moviegoer, I think this is how it would go. If imagine trying to get a casual moviegoing friend hyped for this movie, and when they ask what it's about, this is how it would go. Hey, Chris, there's a new A24 horror drama movie. We should. Oh, really? We should go see it. A24. The fuck is that? Like IMAX? No. It's about two friends that watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer together, and then it gets canceled. So the movie is called A24. Oh my god. Yeah, I think I'll just stay home and binge Buffy the Vampire instead. Yeah, not exactly an easy sell, okay? Now, jokes aside, guys, I think the real pitch for the film should actually go more like this. Two disturbed outcast teens bond over a supernatural TV show in the VHS and cable TV era. Upon the show's cancellation, a rift is created that may drastically change the lives of these two friends. See, at least with this description, I think you might be able to better understand the point of the movie, and you might be able to get more people to actually want to see it. I don't know why they pitched the movie in such a basic way in the marketing. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, with all this being said, let's dive into the nature of the film and explain why I walked away a little underwhelmed while still impressed by the attempts of the filmmakers. This film is well made at its core. It's finely crafted, but it's just not for everyone. Now, our two main characters are really almost the only two characters in this film. It's very contained, and everyone else kind of plays background fiddle, almost becoming more part of the environment than being actual characters. So let's talk about their stories. Owen is an awkward, potentially nerdy young man in 7th grade grade when he meets a strange older girl, a ninth grader named Maddie. Now, while the story itself is kind of boring, the interactions between these two always has a palpable intensity, which was enough to get me through the entire film. It's the best part of the film is just having these two characters talk, which is the whole film, basically. And these two actors really did a great job of putting me in the mind of these characters. You really get to know the characters at their core by the end of the film. So character work is well done. Although the characters aren't for everybody. Justice Smith and Bridget Lundy Payne do a great job as an awkward on-screen duo, with neither truly outshining the other. Although Justice's character is purposely a lot more flat just by nature of the script and what they're going for with the dichotomy of these two characters. And shout out to this child actor right here, Ian Foreman, who actually didn't piss me off. He actually opens perhaps the first 15 minutes of this film as younger 7th grade Owen. But this also caused a major issue for me in terms of the verisimilitude of the film. If you don't know what that means, it's just like basically being able to absorb yourself in the reality, the believability, the buyability of the universe of the film. You know, like when you see a prop master in the back of a scene wearing jeans in a Star Wars movie, that kind of takes you out. It ruins the verisimilitude. So that's a nice fun word that we use here. Now, while his acting was great, the fact that he looks so much younger than the older version of Owen, that really took me out of the film pretty early on. It doesn't ruin the film, but it's just very strange because does he look like a 7th grader? Absolutely. But the problem arises when the film skips ahead in time, about 2 to 3 years to be exact. He goes from 7th grade to 9th grade, I believe. And when they do this, they insert Justice Smith, who, if you look it up, he's the same age as me. The dude was born in 1995, right? He's approaching 30 and he's playing a high schooler. Reminds me of the Spider-Man films from Sam Raimi, right?
Wow, great reflexes.
Now, this is fine. You can have somebody do that. You can play their age down a bit, but you need to then make the younger version of them fit the time skip. It seemed as if he went from 5th grade to college rather than 7th grade to 9th grade. And they do a couple more time skips throughout the film, and Justice Smith kind of just stays the same age throughout a multitude of years, going up to when he's almost like a grandpa at the end of the film. Not really a spoiler, but he does age throughout the film quite a bit. Now, it seems like an easy enough ask to line these two versions of the character up, the younger and the older, but what do I know? I'm not a casting director. I'm just a backseat movie critic on YouTube with not even 1,000 followers. Hit that subscribe button. Come on. So I mentioned this piss poor attempt of aging him up. They do it heavily at the end of the film, and one of the ways that they try to make him seem a lot older, like elderly almost, you know, like pushing 60, pushing 50, is they give Justice Smith's character, they give Owen these really flaky, dry, crusty lips, and it looks like the dude put super glue on his lips and dove headfirst into a snow globe. This is not a huge deal when it comes to the actual acting and the story, but it does impact the experience a bit and makes the production feel a little off. So let's talk about Owen. His character is shy, confused, and somewhat easy to influence, and a bit of a beta, if I'm gonna be honest. Now, Maddie, on the other hand, seems actually very confident, despite her also somewhat odd and introverted nature. She has a strong presence and is the main driver of the plot in this film, dragging Owen into her world, slowly digging into the root of his character's identity struggle. And yes, I said it. This film is pretty heavily themed around the idea of struggling to accept the reality of one's identity. And now, it's not so much identity politics on the nose. It's not hitting you over the head with this thing is good, these people are bad. No, it's more of an introspective and singular take on the idea of identity. It can be seen as an allegory for the struggle of transgender people, but only if you need the film to be that for you. There are hints along the way that kind of push you into that train of thought, but it's not very definitive in that aspect. Now, for others, the film can speak to a more general feeling of discomfort that I think everyone can experience from time to time, and a crisis within one's inner mind versus their current reality. You know, it's you versus you. It's who you want to be versus who you should be or think you should be or who people tell you to be, and they're fighting, right? And you can't distinguish the two, and you want one of them to break free. That's kind of the core messaging of this movie. And at the end of the day, it's a film about finding your true self, even if it means you have to escape your old reality or even bury your current self alive, literally. Now that I've given you a fair overview of what the movie is actually about, let me tell you why it was a bit of a miss for me and likely for many others. Now, when I was walking out of the film, this is the funniest thing. The first words I heard from the other viewers were literally, "That's some real esoteric bullshit, man." Not kidding you. That's the words that came out of this dude's mouth behind me when he came out of the movie with his friend. Now, this came after a series of laughs from the audience, followed by dead silence on the credit roll. People were literally laughing at the end of this movie, and it was not a comedy. And they weren't laughing because the movie was funny. They were laughing because what the fuck just happened? That's what everybody thought in the movie theater. They're like, what the fuck just happened? It's one of those films where it ends and you're just like, that's the ending? The ending was so abrupt. You knew it was coming, but it was still so abrupt and kind of lackluster. It does complete the message of the film in a way, but it leaves you feeling a little empty. Maybe it's supposed to. I'm not sure. At least that's how my theater seemed to feel after walking out. Now, I think a lot of these people in my theater did not like this film, and I think a lot of them, maybe saw a glimpse of a somewhat spooky trailer. They saw the word horror. They saw A24, and after watching something like Talk to Me, they were anticipating a much different film. And this is a mistake. Now, while it is their fault for not really doing the work to understand what they're going to watch, I can also understand where their heads are at. These are casual moviegoers, a lot of them, and you need to market to them successfully, and I don't think this film did. I think the real way to sell this film to the masses would have been to market the horror aspect a lot heavier and then deliver on that premise as well. And you could probably do that while maintaining the spirit and the message of this movie. I know the directors really wanted to push the themes and messaging of this movie at the forefront rather than the horror spectacle. Me personally, I was hoping for a more involved horror plot with the characters interacting in a more surreal sense, mixing the ideas of their reality and the horrors of the TV show that they watch, kind of combining. I was looking for something more Twilight Zone-esque, if you ask me. Something along the lines of Late Night with the Devil is what I was looking for. I knew it wasn't probably going to be that, but that's what I hoped it was going to be. Now, in actuality, the film barely has any traditional horror moments, and when they do, it's very brief and very overplayed on purpose. Just by the nature of this film's themes and the way the plot plays out, it's a lot more subtle and heavily targeted at a very specific audience. Hence the word esoteric that came out of one of the audience members' mouths after my screening. That's literally what that word means. That being said, I think it's going to have a very strong cult following in the years to come and will likely always remain a very divisive A24 film and mostly forgotten by the popular casual movie-going audience. In conclusion, guys, if you're looking for a film that causes you to reach a little deeper into your own psyche and connect with its themes, and you prefer a slow burn with an unsettling atmosphere, this one might be for you. If you're looking for the next Late Night with the Devil, this ain't it. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you in the next one. This has been Stark Cinema, and I love you 3000.